ArcelorMittal employees affiliated to the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa are expected to embark on a wage strike from today. NUMSA served the steel producer with a 48-hour notice of a strike on Monday evening after reaching a deadlock with the employer. For more on this, we cross live to our colleague Liabo Setho. Liabo, has the strike started yet?
Good morning, Desiree. Yes, the strike has started. We are in Van der Bijl Park on the outskirts of Johannesburg, which is in Vaal. This is where the headquarters of ArcelorMittal are located. And as you may see behind me, that you have like hundreds of workers who are already picketing outside. According to the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, NUMSA, they are expected to be picketing. They're expected to have started the picket from 9, and they are expecting to finish at 12. Of course, on the agenda is the issue of wages and salary increases. It is strike season, Desiree, so it is not a surprise that we are seeing this. There's currently wage talks taking place in the mining sector. I know that also at Eskom there's also wage talks taking place. In the bus sector there's also wage talks taking place, and always at the heart of these wage talks is what the employer can afford and what the workers want. And when you take into consideration the issue of economic hardships that workers are feeling, it is not surprising that they would want normally above inflation increases. In this case, when you look at the statement that was issued by ArcelorMittal, they say that every one of their members, they earn about 21,000 rand. This is what NUMSA is disputing and saying, no, entry-level workers, they actually earn 7,000 rand. And they're saying, with the fuel price increase that is going ahead, just generally the state of living, how can people live on less than, or live on less? They need to be given more. The company will always obviously come and say, we need to look at the sustainability of the business, and often you'd hear that some of them saying that if we give above inflation increases or increases that we cannot afford, we'll find ourselves having to retrench workers. This is always the tug of war that we see during the wage season. I am expecting to be speaking to Pagamile Majola, who's the spokesperson for NUMSA, so she can elaborate further on exactly what he's saying. But I understand that she's currently addressing the workers. I'll see if we can actually try to catch on what she's saying to the workers, even if it's just for a minute or two, Desiree. Okay, I'll just try to walk closer to her to see if we are able to hear what Pagamile Majola is saying to the workers of NUMSA. And if we can steal her from the crowd, even if it's just for a second, so she could explain to us what their issues are. I've managed to get her from the crowd, and we'll speak to her right now so she can explain to us what she's been saying to her fellow colleagues about what the employer is offering. Pagamile, thank you so much for making time to us at the SABC. I've just had to steal you while you were addressing your colleagues there. Please just give us an update of what the employer has said and where you stand as a union.
Indeed, thank you so much for being here as the SABC and covering the first day of the ArcelorMittal national strike. We've noted the propaganda, because there's no other word to describe the nonsense that was just sent out by ArcelorMittal, where they claim that workers at the company, the lowest paid, gets a total package of over 21,000 rand. We want to state for the record that is hogwash. As I made the announcement there to our members, I'm sure you heard them say, that's rubbish. We can show you our pay slips. We don't earn anywhere close to that amount. We are representing workers in the workshop, boiler makers, blue collar workers, and those are not workers who are earning 21,000 rand a month. And ArcelorMittal must just be honest with the public about exactly how low the salaries are here.
I've been speaking to my colleague Desiree and telling her about how a balance needs to be struck often during strike season about the sustainability of a business as well as what workers demand, especially with the cost of living rising. What is the word among your members about how they are coping with the cost of living currently?
Our members are not coping at all. Our members, for example, have not had a meaningful increase in 2 years. They are the same people who are struggling because of the high cost of fuel, because the bread basket now is over 4,000 rand. As you know, it's extremely expensive. Food prices have gone up. Generally, the cost of living in South Africa has gone up. Now, the workers that we are representing, many of them are earning as little as 7,000 rand a month. When you incorporate all of those expenses, that is not a living wage. And ultimately, this is why members are out here striking today. They feel that in light of the massive profits that ArcelorMittal has reached, if you read their announcement from 5 days ago, over $41 billion globally. Surely they can afford a 10% increase for a worker who's earning 7,000 rand.
This is above inflation, of course, and we do need to also speak about the sustainability of the business, because the last thing we do want to hear is that the same workers that are getting 10% are also being retrenched. How do you balance this as NUMSA?
I think our general problem in South Africa is that we have normalized the abnormal, where CEOs are allowed to walk away with extremely generous pay packages, but more and more is demanded from ordinary South Africans, ordinary workers and their families to make greater and greater sacrifices. And I think this is actually the conversation we should be having. For example, right now in South Africa, you've got a CEO of Stillwater, Sibanye Stillwater, who walked away with 300 million rand, whereas workers are only asking for a 150 rand increase. This is the type of conversation we should be having, where we should actually demand more from the private sector. We should analyze what they are doing in terms of how they remunerate CEOs, how they remunerate executives versus how they pay ordinary people. The pressure should be at the top, not at the bottom.
Let's talk at the top of the hour at 12 o'clock during On Point about a pending application at the court that is being made by Arcelor, where you'll give us an update, and also you'll tell us how long you are planning to stage these pickets for, but I'd like us to touch on that in the next hour. Pagamile, thank you so much for your time. Desiree, that's Pagamile Hlubi-Majola. She's the spokesperson of NUMSA. They're staging a picket here at ArcelorMittal in Vaal in Vanderbijl Park, with workers behind me saying that, you know, they want a 10% increase above across the board. We will be speaking to her in the next hour during On Point, where we'll find out about a pending court action that is being instituted, or I understand that ArcelorMittal has gone to court to interdict this very strike, and we'll get details of that in the next hour. Desiree, back to you in studio.
Liabo, thank you so much for setting the scene for us, and as you heard there will be more conversation later on about that court challenge.